Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Joy in Our Town. I'm Aaron Motley. Joy in Our Town brings you information regarding the issues and problems we face in our local communities in hopes of finding some solutions. On this first portion of the program, we have with us Janet Johnson, and she is with the Alabama Cooperative Extension System, better known as ACES. She's going to talk to us today about food safety and about the Serve Safe certification requirements. And we thank you for being with us on Joy in Our Town today. And we are looking at some things that are, it's very important to all of us. I think most of the people maybe watching right now have eaten out or purchasing food from various places where we have to get, meats and, foods like this. We want our food to be safe.
Exactly.
And so I want you to talk to us about what exactly is the Serve Safe certification and how important that is to us.
Okay, well, Aaron, back in about 2004, we actually started receiving more food from out of the country than we produce, and not all of it is checked as it comes in. But what we need to do is make sure we keep that food safe. So with that in mind, the Alabama Department of Public Health decided that people working in what they call type 3 and 4 facilities, establishments, and that's basically your restaurants, it can be your daycares, nursing home, grocery stores, have to have some type of certification. There are 3. National Registry, Thompson Prometric, and ServSafe, one that I teach. And they are all 3 national certifications. And so Extension does offer these classes throughout the state. And so those people would have to register, take this class, and they become certified.
All right. What I'd like to know is what are these organizations looking for in order to inspect the food, make sure it is safe for consumption?
Well, like I said, when you're starting from animal products, the food can be contaminated. Bacteria, the main culprit there. So what we want to do is make sure you're handling the food properly, cooking it properly, storing it properly, and that's one of the things that ServSafe teaches. It teaches you how to make sure you're purchasing from approved sources, store the food when it gets in there, prepare it right, cook it right to help keep it safe for the people that will be consuming it.
All right, then. So you're saying basically it's because a lot of the food is being imported into the country. Okay. Now let's look at the requirements and who is it that would actually need to be certified and the purpose of the certification.
Well, with the Alabama Department of Public Health, they're not looking at a specific, like the owner, the manager. Ideally, the person to take the certification would be the person's handling the food, normally going to be your cooks. However, in food service, turnover is very high. And with the certification, we certify people, not facilities or institutions. So a restaurant isn't considered certified because an employee is. That employee is. So a lot of times it will be your owners and managers who will become certified because they know they're going to be there, because that certificate goes with the person. But ideally, you want someone who is going to be over that facility, who can make sure that the employees there are handling the food properly. Okay,
so it becomes the responsibility for that person, whoever they happen to be that's certified, to pass that information on to others and oversee that the fact that they have to do it the correct way.
Exactly.
Okay, so how does this work when the health department comes in and does its inspection of the facility? Does it help to have a certificate from ServSafe?
Yes, it does. Like I say, beginning this year, January 1, 2010, they wanted to see someone at each of those facilities certified. If they did not see someone certified, either where you've attempted it or actually have the certificate, it was an automatic 5-point deduction on your inspection.
Wow.
It is considered a critical violation. However, beginning January 1, 2011, if you cannot show that someone is certified, then or has attempted, because you don't always pass. They will give you 120 days, basically a quarter, to get certified, or they say, Alabama Department of Public Health, they will either revoke or not renew your food permit. So it is a serious issue. And like I said, it's all about public health. People eat out. We have a lot of people who are coming in what we call our high-risk population. And those persons are the very young, young children, the elderly, and it can be people who have certain illnesses, chronic illnesses like diabetes, AIDS, cancer. And you can't look at people and tell if they're suffering from something like that. So the idea is to just make sure you're handling the food right, to keep it safe. And of course, people have to let you know if they have issues. Even food allergies are increasing. And so depending on how that food is handled, someone can have a reaction just from an allergy. So that type of training is also involved.
Okay. Well, overall, it's the public that's going to benefit from this.
Exactly.
And, will those certificates, are they going to be posted in the restaurants or the cafeterias or wherever, or is it not necessarily to be posted?
Ideally, would be the best thing to do. That way, when the inspector comes in, they can see automatically that that facility has someone certified. But a lot of times, it may be something that they request, so they can have it on file or they can have it posted. It's kind of left up to them, but they need to be able to show it.
Okay, kind of give us an idea then of if someone was coming to one of your classes, what kinds of things will they go through? First of all, how long are these classes?
Well, the class that I teach is a 2-day class. It's a day and a half of lecture followed by the exam. And it is an ANSI, ANSI-CFP approved exam, and that stands for Conference of Food Protection. Don't ask me what ANSI is. I always forget that one. But anyway, it's just that it is approved. It can instruct and proctor the exam, but I do not grade it. It is sent off, and it is from the National Restaurant Association. That is the Serve Safe certification. But it's a day and a half of lecture. We cover everything from basic food safety, foodborne illnesses. We cover the food handler, which is basically our major cause of foodborne illness, because it's how that person handles that food. Proper hand washing, you know, that's a key in food service. We also talk about cleaning and sanitizing, pest management, the safeties, who your regulatory agencies are. So it covers everything. And that is also one of the problems associated with it, because a lot of the facilities that have to have it may not actually do all of those things.
Okay.
Like daycares have to be certified because they serve a high-risk population. Grocery stores, nursing homes, and they may not have the equipment or actually do a lot of the stuff that's involved. But you're responsible for that information because there is an exam that covers everything. The exam is 90 questions. It's multiple choice, and it covers all of those topics. And you do have to score 75 or better in order to pass it. And your certification lasts for 5 years. So once you get it, don't mean you have it forever. You do have to recertify every 5 years.
And is that for the purpose that some things can change within 5 years?
And the reason I said CFP, Conference for Food Protection, they meet about, I think it's every 2 years, but every 4 years they put out what they call the Model Food Code, and that is from the federal government, FDA. And so those are regulations that are put in place, and because they do change, and it's recommendations to the state. Each state adopts it. So it's not just because the government says it, the state has to do it. The state decides, yes, we can do this, no, we don't. Or they may gradually bring some of those things into play. And so that's why the information changes, so you do have to recertify and keep current on what is happening out there.
How would one find a place where they can take the classes in their area?
Well, like I said, a lot of organizations do teach it. Alabama Cooperative Extension does, and we do have a website. It's www.aces.edu. Then once they go there, they would go to, it's actually /food safety. We'll make it a little bit easier. Then click on food service. That will give you a list of all the people in the state that does it with extension. Now, if you're somewhere out of the state, because like I said, it is national, or there's not one in extension close to you, you can also go to the Serve Safe website, which is www.serve.com, and click on Find a Class. That'll give you any in your area. Because, like I said, we do teach it, but in most cases with Extension, we're what we call regional agents now.
Okay.
So we serve a area, and we may not always be in your specific location.
Okay. Now, what could happen if a facility, or if there's no one in that food serving facility that will be qualified? I mean, can this constitute shutting down that particular facility?
Yes, it can.
Wow.
Like I said, beginning next year, 2011, January 1, if the health department comes in and you can't show that you have someone certified or attempted it, because they realize that with the turnover and that people can get certified and then leave you, they want to see where you've at least attempted it.
I see.
And so if you cannot show that, then they will give you 120 days. That's basically, I guess you can say, one inspection period to get certified. And then after that, they will look at either revoking or not renewing your food permit, which can shut you down.
Wow. So really serious about this then. Food safety is extremely important. Have we seen some situations in more recent years in facilities that have served food that was not safe? What kind of things have we seen in the past?
When it comes to restaurants, which is what this normally, you don't hear of as many. There can be critical violations that can lead to foodborne illness, and they'll shut them down, but you can also recover. But some of the major things that we've had over in recent years, we had the spinach and the lettuce recall. You know, we had over 200 people got sick, several people died. Just recently, we had the peanut butter recall. That was actually Peanut Corporation of America. Even though that was a processing facility, that product went into a lot of different products, went to local restaurants, and that contamination went from one location and spread out. You had, I think it was about 8 people that died from that.
Wow.
And that facility did close as a result of that outbreak.
So even when something comes in from somewhere else, is there a way of detecting if there is some contamination?
Not necessarily. The government does have a lot of what they call rapid detection methods, but like I said, in most cases, if it's a raw animal product, it will be contaminated. There will be bacteria because it's just naturally occurring. The idea is if we handle that food properly, we can keep it safe, or we can make it safe. Because if you cook the food properly, you will kill the bacteria that's associated with it. So that's why this certification is important. We want to make sure the people handle and store and cook the food properly to help keep it safe.
Wow. Now, even when it goes to when people purchase food for their home, there needs to be something for them to know what to do as far as how to cook it.
Exactly, and you know, I'm talking about the certification. However, food safety applies to everyone.
Okay.
And so it's one of those. We also do programs just to the general public. All they have to do is check with their local extension office, get that agent, and we come out and we do programs to faith-based organizations, schools, small groups. You just name it, we come.
Okay, Janet Johnson, we had all the information on the screen. People can contact you for more information. Thank you for joining us for this segment of Joy in Our Town. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to this second portion of Joy in Our Town. We have with us Matera T. Austin, and she is also with ACES, or that is Alabama Cooperative Extension Systems. She's going to talk to us today about how ACES is involved with the employment programs. And we thank you for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we're starting to see you quite often, but there's
Yes.
so much that ACES is involved with.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about some of the whole function of ACES and its purpose.
Okay, well, ACES is Alabama Cooperative Extension System. It's an educational entity, and basically we provide education and outreach to pretty much anyone who needs it. Faith-based schools, after-school programs, senior sites, boys and girls clubs. If you need information or education on a particular topic, we can provide it for you. We have research-based publications. We have a Master Gardener helpline. We don't just do 4-H and agriculture. We do have things that deal with food safety, nutrition, health, money management, home buyer education, and as you mentioned, employment life skills or workforce development. So we do have a lot to offer.
Okay, and that's the area we really want to talk about on today, is to just find out, well, what does ACES have to do with unemployment and employment issues?
Okay, well, we have, through our unit, our urban unit, we have a program that's entitled Works for Me, and that teaches employment life skills, and what it tries to do is enhance but job seekers' chances of getting that job. A lot of people may be employed, but they're underemployed, or if they're not employed, we want to help them to get a job that's going to help them to support themselves and their families. Explain
underemployment.
Well, underemployment happens a lot sometimes where people may have an aptitude to get a job at a different level, but they just don't have the skills or the training that they need, and they don't feel comfortable or the confidence to seek that employment. So we want to make sure that they have resumes and they have everything, I guess, to the letter, so that way when they're seeking those particular jobs, that the employer can see that they do have those capabilities, and that way they can get gainful employment.
Okay. You know, there are a lot of folks out seeking jobs right now, and we know that the reason why many people are not getting employed is not just because the jobs are not available, but because, like you said, they may be underemployed by reason that they don't have the skills to go out and search for a job, because it's different now than the way it used to be.
Exactly, it is.
So tell us some of the things you mentioned about resumes. How important? What are some of the most important things that we need to make sure is placed in a resume?
Oh my! Well, the first thing that they need to have one. A lot of the youth or the program participants, whether they're adults or seniors, they don't have a resume, and they don't know what a resume is or what it should have. So the first thing it should have on it is your name and some contact information, so that the employer can get with you to let you know that they want to set up an interview with you or to discuss the job further. And then you need to basically let them know about your objective, what it is that you want to be, or possibly give them a narrative of what you've done, so they can see if you're a perfect fit for that position.
All right. And what about maybe some background information on yourself? Where have you been employed before?
Right.
Your
Your
education?
employment history, your education is very, very important and vital to have on your resume. References, so that way they can, see if the experience that you have is fabricated or if it's actually something that you've done, because you don't want to lie on your resume. You want to tell the truth. And you also want to let them know about some accomplishments, some achievements, voluntary experience, if you volunteered anyway. Just different things that will help them see that you're going to stand out and you're going to go to the next level to help them, reach their goals for their particular organization or company. So.
Oftentimes people are out looking for work, and they may even have a resume, and oftentimes we find people saying things like, well, I just need a job, or I need to get make ends meet, and things like that. But it's not really about what you need. It's about what does that employer need.
Exactly.
And so how can people get that point across to employers that they would be the right person for that job?
Well, the first thing they need to do is research the company. If I'm going to work for a particular company, I need to know what their goals are, their mission is, the audience that they're trying to serve, the demographics of the people. So that way, when they ask me the questions and ask me, am I prepared to do such things, that I can show them that I know, who you're trying to serve, and I can help you better serve them through what I can offer. And there's just certain language you leave off of the resume and certain things that you leave off of the resume. And I think that key points, those are key points that a lot of people overlook in doing a resume. Sometimes they have information on there that's not accurate. You shouldn't put your age on there. You shouldn't put pictures on there. You would be surprised at some of the things that people would place on a resume. And that would help them to basically put in the pile that is not going to be looked at because at first glance it may be too long or too wordy. It really shouldn't be over a page, and it's the font you use, and it shouldn't be fancy. It should be simple, easy to read, things of that nature. So we want to help them to find those key points, those key things they should hone in on, so that way that their resume stands out, and then they're putting the proper information in the resume so that the employer can immediately see if they are fit for or a match for that job.
That's some very, very important information you just gave out right there, because oftentimes people think that if I put my picture on there, pictures
they're going to
speaks a
see
lot.
me and think, oh, great, she or he will be great for this job, but that's not appropriate.
Picture's
for
not always
that.
appropriate.
Right.
Okay.
And then also we talk about dressing for success.
Okay. Now, how important is that?
That is very, very important. A lot of, especially younger people, we have this problem with more often than not. The different types of fads that are out, the piercings and the different types of hairstyles, the colors, the tight-fitting clothing, the stiletto heels. We just want to make sure that they know they should dress conservative and certain colors that they should stay away from. Their nails shouldn't be too long. Their makeup shouldn't be, they shouldn't have on too much on, or just too distracting or colorful. It's not, it's a job interview. So we want them to take it seriously. We want them to be taken seriously. So we want them to dress appropriately and know what not to do. Comb your hair, get haircuts,
Wow.
Be well groomed and present yourself in a light so that the employer knows that you're serious about that position, and then they'll in turn try to take you seriously, and hopefully they'll see that you may be able to fill that role in that particular position they're looking for.
Wow, that is great. And these days you find many people who are, you're talking a lot about the younger folks who are out there, but there are also some folks who are near retirement or even over the retirement age who are going back to work, and they're seeking jobs.
They are.
Oftentimes we find that they don't have the computer skills and backgrounds and everything. Even applying for the job is going to be applied for online. So are you all teaching some skills that would pertain to folks who are maybe a little bit older or not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, computer literacy and being able to use a computer is very important, especially with applying for jobs now, because a lot of the actual applications are online. Now, we don't actually provide those services, but we have community partners. So most seniors, if they're not involved with a particular group, they can go to a senior site in their area, and most of those senior sites are providing classes in showing seniors how to use their computer effectively, because they know that that's something that that is lacking, but that is very important as they continue to live in a daily society and try to gain employment or just communicate with their family using email, text messaging. Just technology is a big thing. So most of the senior centers, and you have some churches, community action programs that are trying to help seniors get more involved and to help them build those skills, so that way they won't get left behind and they'll be able to compete with a person that's younger, and even though they may have more experience. So it doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to get that job. They just need to know that they have the aptitude for going on that computer and also applying for the same position.
Okay, so getting that job training really builds the confidence in an individual and helps them to just get out there and say, I know I can do this.
Exactly.
And I can gain gainful employment. And so what talks to us about how successful this program has been so far? Okay,
well, the program has actually been very successful. This year we actually had a career expo where we invited various universities and employment organizations who were looking to hire some people out so that our people in our program could get a first-hand glance at what it would be like, and to give them some experience with doing some interviews. We actually had a room where we set up some mock interviews where they could actually talk to some of the people and get feedback on things that they should do or shouldn't do in the interview. They got to hear workshops and learn some things about applying for a job and just being ready to go out there and, start your career. So it was good. It was an opportunity for them to network, to meet people, to see if the jobs that they're looking for are at the particular universities that we actually have locally, or if they need to be looking at other universities outside of the state. So it kind of helped them to focus on whatever they wanted to do and see if the programs or the employment that they were looking for was here or elsewhere.
Okay. And you hit on that interview. How important is the interview, and how should a person conduct themselves in an interview?
Right.
Talk to us about some of the biggest mistakes people make during the interview.
Okay, well, the first thing you should do is go in there with a nice firm handshake and look the person in the eye, because that's the very first impression you get of that person, and that's their confidence level. So you want to know that you're hiring somebody that's confident and that's going to go out there, and whatever product you have or whatever service you're doing, they're going to make sure they sell that. So that's what they look for. They look for you to speak clearly, concisely, your communication skills, whether or not you're a team player, whether you have a flexible schedule, because it may not be 9 to 5. It may be they need you on the weekends or in the evenings. Like with Extension, our job is very, we have flexible hours. We work all the time. So they look at a variety of different things. And it's presenting yourself well.
So it's really like you're selling yourself in a sense.
You are.
Because you're out there saying that I am the right person for this, and you all are providing all that training.
Yes.
Give us a phone number or a website where people can contact you.
Oh, you can reach us at www.aces.edu or call us on the telephone at 334-270-4133. And once you go to that website, you'll be able to look at any of our programs and actually find a county near you that offers that program.
All right. Thank you so much, Machera Austin with ACES.
Thank you
for being with us on Joy in Our Town today. And for the past 13 years, I've been privileged to host Joy in Our Town and the public affairs programs. But I'm going to be turning that torch over to Deborah Garrett, and she's going to be the new host of Joy in Our Town in the next few weeks. And so we hope that you will continue to tune in to this program, and we'll continue to bring you fine programming. And I'll stay here as the station manager, but we'll see you again next week, as Deborah Garrett is going to be the host of Joy in Our Town. Thank you for joining us.